Is up, guys? It's your boy C-Beck, and today we're going to be doing a new episode of Under Review in Titanfall 2. I'm going back to Titans today. Okay, I'm going to go for my boy Scorch here. Okay, so first and foremost, just a background for Scorch. So his name Scorch comes from Scorched Earth. He is an ogre type classification of a Titan. Okay, he rates 3 stars on durability, 1 star on mobility, and 3 stars on damage. So he can whoop some ass and he can take some ass whoopings. But man, he don't move too fast. If anybody's ever played Scorch, man, you know that dude. He's just a big freaking tank lunking around. He don't get around too good. Okay, so going over his abilities, starting with Firewall. So Firewall directs a wall of fire or thermite in the enemy's direction. It'll sit there and burn for a little bit. Incendiary Trap is his tactical. It deploys a flammable gas canister, which can be triggered by the slightest spark. The longer you let them sit there up to a certain point, the gas will continue to expand, so they will have a larger area of effect. Heat Shield, defensive, liquefies incoming artillery while dealing damage to nearby enemies. Heat Shield is absolutely amazing, defensively and offensively. The only problem with it offensively is you got to be right up in the dude's face. It does have a little bit of range to it, but I mean it's barely anything. It's less than half of a step with a Titan. Okay, and then Flame Core, so creates a giant wave of fire that destroys anything in its path. And that's no joke, it literally destroys anything. It's ridiculous. Okay, giant wall of fire, everything explodes. So a couple of tips and tricks here that I want to go over with first before we get into loadouts. So first and foremost, Incendiary Trap. So Scorch is a great aerial denial Titan. Okay, he has the best area of effect damage in the game. Okay, so for things like Hardpoint or amped Hardpoint and Bounty Hunt. Sorry, I got a little tongue twisted there. He can be really good to be used defensively or offensively. One, if there's people camping out in a position, say like C on Angel City, lob your incendiary traps in there, throw both of them at one time because you get 2 of them. Light them suckers up after a couple of seconds. Anything that's in there is dead. Okay. Same thing with the banks on Bounty Hunt. Lob one of those suckers in there. Drop a freaking a thermite from your T203 main weapon in there. And yeah, dude, pretty freaking simple, man. It's gonna annihilate everything in its path. However, now that we've moved on to the T203, keep in mind it's really freaking hard to hit pilots with a T203. Best way to kill pilots as Scorch is either to lay down a firewall in their direction of travel or through doorways and stuff, or use the incendiary trap. Okay, with the T203, if you get a direct hit, say on a Titan, for instance, okay, the initial hit's going to cause damage, and then the thermite's going to continue to burn them. Alright, so what you can do with Scorch is, if you're firing into a room where a pilot's like window camping, something like that, you hit the roof, it will rain thermite down on top of their head, and they will eventually die from one T203 shot. So, like I said, just a couple of little tips and tricks there. And then with Flame Core, if you can, throw out your incendiary traps before you light off Flame Core. Okay, because 1, it's going to give you a bigger blast radius. 2, you're going to get the damage from the explosion, the secondary explosion of the incendiary traps. And 3, it's going to create a bigger chunk of fire that's going to burn a little bit longer, unless you're using his new kit for Flame Core, which makes it last longer. So that way you're going to kill the Titan, at least on the secondary damage. Now, moving into his kits. Preferred kit for Scorch. I don't like to use Warpfall, even though he's a tank and can take an ass whooping. Alright, I prefer either Turbo Engine or Overcore. So if you just hate how slow and lunky he is, okay, throw on Turbo Engine. He'll be able to dash around a little bit because he is one of the only 2 Titans, him and Legion, that do not come standard with a dash. They're just slow. Okay, and then Overcore, that extra 20% core build time, do Flame Core is amazing, like I already said. Okay, so that's the kit that I like to run on him. Alright, and then there's 2 different trains of thoughts that I like to go with for him. So I also sometimes will go with a nuclear reactor, or the nuclear ejection. Here's why. So Tone can do one of 2 things. Either he can do, kind of one of 3 things. He can do sneak attacks, so get behind an enemy and flame wall the hell out of them. 2, he can just tank the damage and slowly push into a Titan line while your enemies are pounding him. Or 3, he can jump right in the middle of the fray with his flame shield, flame wall, firewall, and just lay down all kinds of fire, hitting everything. However, that does hurt you. Okay, so you can get in there, you can melt Titans extremely quickly, especially like on Bounty Hunt. The Bounty Titans, you just melt through, okay, with that. Especially if you have the increased damage and increased length of Firewall, okay? Once you go into freaking Doom, or you can drop it a little bit earlier than that, right before Doom, so you don't get executed. Throw in your nuke, cleans up the mess, and then all your enemies will either be too weak or they'll be running away, and your teammates can just pick them off. But that's going to conclude my guide on my buddy Scorch today. I hope you guys enjoyed. We out. Peace.